Bo Nix and the Auburn offense are looking to bounce back from a rough 20-3 loss against Texas A&M this past weekend, and they prepare to face Mississippi State, who has one of the more underrated defenses for not just in the country, but for sure in the SEC. And I want to take a few minutes and look at some clips and look at some film of plays from Bo Nix of what he needs to do against this Mississippi State defense, like plays I think could be there, and then some plays that you'll need to avoid. So with Mississippi State's defense being one of the more underrated defenses, they are going to send more pressure as far as blitzing goes. They'll have a bit more blitzing than maybe what they've seen the past few games. Texas A&M's defensive line is so good they can get pressure like Georgia's defensive line with four guys. So Mississippi State's defense will bring a bit more pressure at times, but you're going to see it's going to be somewhat similar to some of the defenses they face. They're going to have some off coverage. They're going to give you some underneath style throws or underneath type throws. So if you're Bo Nix, I think early, you want to hit those underneath throws. You want to get some bootleg and some play action going and just get really comfortable at the beginning of the game. And then from there are going to be some hole shots. The Mississippi State's defense, it's a good defense, but there are some hole shots that can be taken advantage of. But I think getting comfortable first and then taking some of those hole shots, I think is a best case scenario. And then as far as what you want to avoid, you don't want to make a tougher throw just because it's a tougher throw. If there's an easier throw there, you want to make that an easier throw. We're going to see it on film here in a second. And then you want to avoid the disaster mistakes, the disaster penalties, the disaster fumbles, and play a bit more consistent, right? You don't want to have a good drive it all the way downfield, and then have a horrible interception or turnover. So we're going to look at the first drive of the game, the first series for Auburn's offense of the game against Georgia. We're going to see some good Bo Nix, and then we're going to see some Bo Nix that you want to avoid, right? So just being a little more consistent. And then we're going to just kind of wrap it up on the back end. So we're going to dive into some clips and some films and look at these videos of what we think Bo Nix can do and what we want him to avoid. But before we do, I just want to encourage all to consider subscribing to the channel if you like any quarterback-related content. Let's get into the film. So here's a quick underneath throw for Nix against Georgia here. We're going to see pretty tight coverage, able to fit into a tight window here. Watch right here in that zone. So I think this is what, obviously, Mississippi State's defense is not Georgia's defense, but these type of throws, these underneath type throws, I think is what Nix can do and look for to be successful against Mississippi State. Just like Jefferson did last week from Arkansas. He was very efficient. He was 19 and 23, and he was taking throws like this. I don't think they'll be this contested, right? This is a good job by Nix anticipating hitting that hole right there. So there are going to be some opportunities to hit some underneath throws against Mississippi State. I think if you're Nix, you just continue to take those and don't try to force anything downfield, at least initially, right? So let's watch it from this point of view. It's a good job by Nix. He's comfortable. He anticipates it. And right when the receiver's open, he's decisive and throws it, right? So being decisive is huge for Nix, of course. But taking those underneath throws when he sees it, linebacker goes, boom, right there. That's a good ball, a good read there by Nix. Let's go ahead and watch a few more clips, or a few more styles of throws as well that I think Nix could potentially have success on against Mississippi State's defense. So this ends up being a drop here. But I think it's a good example of a type of throw that could be successful against State's defense, especially if they have off coverage, right? It is a drop. But if we go back, look, this is kind of similar to how Mississippi State could potentially play because they do have more off coverage. I'm sorry, I kept pausing it. Let's go back to, boom, here. Look at all the space. Like if he catches it, you got blocks right here. That's a potential good play. So I do think getting the ball out quick like this could slow down. Mississippi State does bring a bit more pressure than Georgia, not as good as getting the quarterback, but it could slow down that pressure. Then also could take advantage of Mississippi State just having that kind of off coverage position. So these quick screens to the receivers of the backfield, or even to the running back of the backfield, could be something that is potentially there against State's defense. So I definitely want to see these type of throws here from Nix. We'll watch it real quick and kind of break it down. Just a good play action bootleg throw. I think they get the first down there, if not they're close to it. But just looking back real quick, Mississippi State's defense is pretty good against the run. They're one of the more underrated defenses probably in the country, but for sure the SEC. I think they can have a similar effect to what Georgia just did in this play, kind of bite towards the run, get a receiver open, and it's going to get Nix comfortable, right? Getting him comfortable early in the game I think would be crucial. Like last week against A&M, just wasn't able to get comfortable the entire game. Give him some throws like those, and then those underneath throws should be there. But again, get him outside the pocket, open, easy throw. I think if you have a few of those type of throws, it gets Mississippi State's defense maybe biting a little bit, then you can take a shot deep. But if I'm a play caller early in the game, I just want to give some easy throws, get Nix comfortable, and then potentially take shots down the road in that game. But I think getting him outside the pocket early in the game is a good strategy against State's defense. So still on the first drive of the game for Nix against Georgia, but another good example going off of the last video of just taking an underneath throw. We're going to see the run back out of the backfield, boom, but it's there, right? Nix does a good job in the pocket, moving, boom, gets the ball in space, makes the guy miss, gets a first down. So a few qualities on that one play, or two of the qualities that we're talking about, getting the ball to your guy in space and hitting underneath throws. That's what happens on this play here. I think that's what can happen to State's defense, and that's where some success can be, getting the ball to your playmakers in open space and then getting the underneath throws that Mississippi State's defense is going to give to you. And it's a good job by Nix in the pocket too, right? Buying time. That's a good ball. I would be patient. But it's an underneath throw. It's in space to your playmaker, and he gets a first down. So I think this is the recipe against Mississippi State's defense. If you're Bo Nix and if you're the play caller, at least from the passing standpoint here, let's watch it from this angle because I think it shows Nix doing a good job in the pocket. Because pressure comes, boom, boom, downfield throw, underneath throw, makes the guy miss, gets upfield for a first down. So I know I harped on taking underneath throws and hitting those kind of shorter throws, but I do think there are going to be some potential hole shots against Mississippi State's defense. And Nick's making throws like this, he's very capable of doing, and I do think there'll be opportunities for it. Now, this ends up being a drop, right? But it's a really good throw, actually. If we watch from the end zone angle, we'll see it's a good throw, good timing. Again, when Nick is decisive, when he's comfortable, when he's in a groove, is when he plays his best football. No shocker there. But it's a good play here. Comes up. Boom, that's a good throw right into a hole. And I do think there's going to be some zone shots, not even this tightly contested. So it's just being wise when you take those opportunities. So again, I do like the underneath throws more times than not, but I do think there are going to be some hole shots, and those type of throws could be there for Nix against State's defense. Okay, two type of plays we want to avoid from Bo Nix, and again, this is the same drive, right? Had a lot of good stuff, and then had some not so good stuff. So this could have been caught, arguably caught, right? Could have been a touchdown. The receiver probably could have caught that. But let's look at the other throw that's there. And so if you're Bo Nix, you want to avoid taking the tougher throw and take the easier throw. I don't know why it's not loading. Here we go. Okay. So let's watch the back out of the backfield. Boom. So this is the easier throw, right? There's the defender there. It's a tougher throw. He still probably should have caught it. Maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh because it's pressure in Nix's face. But still, that's the easier throw, right? If we watch the behind the center angle, we'll see that's the easier throw. So if you're Nix, hey, just take the easy throw, right? So you want to avoid making a tougher throw than what it needs to be. We'll go right there, right? That would have been a touchdown block here. So again, if you're Nix, you want to avoid these type of throws and just take the easier throw. All right, so here's the main type of play you want to avoid if you're Nix, and it's the disaster play, right? You just want to play consistent. And so this play ended up being grounding. They still got the field goal, but it was like drops the ball there, tosses it there. Like very well could have been ruled a fumble, right, and a turnover. So just these are the type of plays you want to avoid. Don't make a bad situation even worse. And just be, I'm sorry, it's buffering. I apologize. Here we go. So we'll just watch it from here. So don't make a bad situation even worse, and just take care of the football and just be consistent, right? That was not a great end to it. That was not a good end to a good drive against Georgia. But again, Mississippi State don't want to give them any more opportunities than they'll already have. So again, just to recap, we want to take some underneath style throws, give the defense takes us, and then when the hole shots present themselves, let it rip and take some hole shots, and then just avoid those disaster plays and avoid making tougher throws than what you need to, right? So sounds simple, sounds cliche, but I think the game of football can be simplified. It can be successful if you play kind of within those boundaries. But I want to hear from you. What do you think Bo Nix needs to do against Mississippi State's defense? What are you looking for him to do? Let us know in the comments below. We'll see you next time in the next quarterback-related video.